must have enough power to fund all the problems.
Welcome, folks, to the Town of Milton Board of Selectmen's Workshop, November 1st, 2017. If you could please stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
In non-public, we talked about reputation. So we're here for the department budget reviews. Up first is Miss Kathy Wallensford for the assessing department.
All right. For my 2018 budget, my salary line is $41,495.37. Pardon me?
That's supposed to be my job.
Oh, you're supposed to say that?
Mm-hmm.
All right, go ahead.
Remember we talked about this department?
I know. What can I say? Go ahead.
Okay. That includes
Go ahead. Sorry.
1.7 COLA and a 2% merit. She didn't want me to do a big introduction about all the years she's been here and all the other multiple hats that Kathy wears, and the fact that she serves as the backup for other departments and handles numerous titles and roles. But I will not say much more because she's asked me not to. But we're very lucky to have Kathy.
Yep.
Okay.
So that possible 2% is already figured into this?
It is.
I'll put a sock in.
It is.
You can continue.
Oh, so now I can.
Yeah.
All right. So.
Start taking numbers here or something.
I do the salary lines. That's how we figured this out.
Okay. So are we all set?
Yeah.
All right. So the FICA is 93.62, which is it's mandated. Excuse me. I gave you the increase. It's 25.98.88. For the Medicare, again, it's a mandated figure, $607.90, which is based on the salary proposed. My next line item is training. I put in $150. It's strictly to update on classes and things like that. For the assessing, forms, procedures, there's always changes. The Registry of Deeds, I have increased that by $100. My Registry of Deeds, we have to pay now, which started about 2 years ago. I increased it last year, and this year I'm running real close on the money. But for all the transfers that take place in the town of Milton, and as we know, the housing industry is improving, I have to receive copies from the registry of these transfers, and we're charged now for them. And I've had a lot of deed recordings, merger recordings, and that type of thing. Those we're reimbursed, but they don't go back into my line directly, so it doesn't show. But every time I have a deed recorded, there's a charge for it. Every time the mergers, applications, current use, any of those, we are charged for it. People do pay for the recordings, but it just does not show back in my line item. Legal notices, I've left it at $100. I haven't done any legal notices for a couple of years, but if we did any kind of, if the state mandated us to have some kind of a public hearing for a law change or something, I wanted to have money there to put it in my budget. My biggest increase you're going to see is going to be on the software support. In 2017, that is when I started the, 2016 is when I started the online service for the assessing, so they could get the assessing cards and the maps. It started in the middle of the year, so my cost was not it wasn't for a full year. What you're seeing this year, $5,500, is for a full year of the cost to have the website set up, or the site on our website, and also for my software update programs, which we are required to do every year, because every year the state does change, like the MS1 forms, so all our data has to be worked into the new forms. Professional services, again, that is for changes, corrections, and subdivisions, mergers that take place during the year. It is mandated by the state that we do update our maps once a year. Contracted assessors, you'll see there's no change in the line at 70,000. That is paying for the 5th year of our revaluation, which started in 2014. It also pays for the services of doing the sales analysis, the equalization, and other programs that we have to meet for Concord, for the state. If it would be my suggestion that we finish out last year. I know there's been discussion about the contracted assessors, but if we was going to make a change, I would suggest that if we're going to, we'll put it up for bid next year. Let us finish the full cycle of the reval that started in 2014, 18 being the last year, 19 being the beginning of a new reval. Printing, I reduced that by $50 because I don't see anything major that I'd have to do for any printing. Supplies, I've reduced that by $100 and asking $400. That is for a copy, for ink cartridges, envelopes, stamps, office supplies that we need in the office. I have 3 computers. I have a public one, and we use one that we share with a lot of people, but I still am the one that maintains it, plus the one that sits on my desk. Postage, it stayed the same, $600. Equipment maintenance, I reduced that to $200 because really today, most of the equipment that I do have in my office now would be a printer or a keyboard, and I don't feel that I would have to replace a complete computer or anything like that, so I have reduced that down. Equipment purchase, I've dropped it down to $300. The only thing I could think that I might possibly have to change out would be a printer. Mileage, I only have $50 there. I haven't changed it. That would be for traveling if I had to use my own car. Memberships, I reduced it down to $30 because my membership presently is only $20 a year. And then miscellaneous, I reduced that down to $10. I haven't used my miscellaneous line, but miscellaneous is important to have there if we have to create a new line for the next year. So I have a total budget of $124,013.36 with an increase of $4,725.98. $34.50 of that.
So if you had to make any changes, Kathy, any more changes, where would you make them?
I would probably have to cut some more down on the office equipment and supplies because the rest of them, a lot of them are mandated. The registry of deeds, I couldn't because I know we'd go over it. We have to get the information from them. We have to record the deeds that we issue back to people. You can eliminate my printing line, leave $1 in it, but you're talking $50. I can't go any lower on my ink cartridges. I am supplying 2 printers. I'm only asking for $200 for equipment maintenance. I'm only asking $300 for a purchase.
So contracted assessors, you have $39,624 remaining.
I do at this moment, but I still have October, November, and December to pay for.
What is usually a monthly bill for?
It depends on what we're doing at that particular time. They can range anywhere from $10,000 to that down to $6,000.
And your postage line, you went over on it, Kathy. So why is it staying the same?
Well, because there's still an adjustment I think it has to be made to that line. I'm going to break about even this year on it.
Year to date, you're expended more than you.
And there's adjustment that needs to be made to that expenditure line, and I think I will.
Oh, it hasn't been made yet?
No.
Why would it show a negative then? Is it just wrong?
Because when we had somebody else helping us with some of the reports, if you do not clear the machine out when you take your reports, you're adding in the previous month.
So yes, it's wrong.
So it's wrong. Yes,
you.
and I am intending to make that correction,
Thank you.
okay?
On the contracted assessors,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, would you be comfortable taking it down 5 grand?
If you want to take it down 5 grand, I have no problem with it.
No, but would you be
What
comfortable?
I would do is, this is what will end up happening, I think would be all right. But it would require that, I might say to them, make sure that I only have Susan certain times and things like that, and I will cover more of.
Well, no, I don't want that. I mean,
Well,
you
but
work,
that's
you work
basically-
enough. I mean,
That
I'm just-
basically, yeah, that's basically what, because like I explained, the contract is gonna cover the reval for the last year of the cycle. And this would be with any of them, okay? So that's gonna cover going outside and doing the measuring, doing the building permits. Rechecking a building permit was incomplete. And then the other side of the contracted services is going to be the input into the system for all the changes that every time we go out there and look at somebody's property. It could be $100 in assessment change, but we still have to go in and make the changes into the system.
Okay.
And then all the paperwork that goes along with it. Every 5 years, we have to certify the elderly, we have to certify the veterans, everything. So there is certain processes we have to do, and basically, I would have to tighten that area.
Okay. No, I was just, I mean, you're really her right-hand person to the town hall. She's not here. I mean, we all know that.
So,
And I don't want to add any work. I was just
yeah.
simply
and you know
asking.
something, I'm a firm believer that every so often it doesn't hurt to put stuff out there in for 2019, which we would be doing in 2018, if we want to put it out there for bid, which we have done, and see what kind of feedback we're going to get from other companies. I mean, we should. That is. So next year, I have no problem in putting it out there and seeing if somebody can do the same job for the same money or less.
Okay. Any other things? Any other questions, guys?
No, I agree with you. On a $5,000 cut on the 396. That's my recommendation. That would put her below last year's budget. She's got 39. Let me ask you this. This being said, this document again, it comes up again. Is that line accurate?
In my budget right
Yeah.
now, yes.
Okay.
The thing is, though, like she was just saying, and
I heard what she said.
Yeah. I mean, I don't.
How much do you think is going to be left in that line? By
Well,
the
the
end
thing
of
of
the
it is,
year.
it could be, that's why I'm saying, if you want to take 5,000 out of it, go ahead. Once they give us a contract for next year, their contract will probably come in and read it at 70,000, and then you're going to have to talk with them and ask them to drop the contract down to 65,000. And chances are, I probably could encumber $5,000 that would off balance, but the encumbered money is supposed to be paying for work done in 2016. And I won't be making that payment probably until January.
Those payments are unknown.
At this moment, yes. It's based on hours. I do know that because we did the update this year, we're gonna have to do a use cap report, which is very, very time consuming, and that is gonna eat up a lot of my costs there. There's a lot of hours that go into it, and they have to do it by law because it has to be submitted to Concord, to the state. The state watches us all the time. We're
Oh, I know.
always reporting. I had somebody from DRA down here, I think it was 3 weeks ago, and what they basically do, that's why it is important that we have good people out there, is that I have had, one year, we got called on 2 different reports. One, there was a foot different in a measurement out in the mills, and it was measured during the winter in snow. It's very easy to do, because I have done it myself. I used to be out there doing that type of stuff. The other one was for a deck that was on the 2nd floor that you couldn't get to measure because there was no stairs. So you do the best you can, and they wrote us up on both of those. It's not a big deal, but that's how close they check us.
If I remember right, we didn't use all the contracted assessors line though last year though, did we?
Nope.
No, and it was covered, and I think there is a small balance there, so, yeah, like I said, if you wanna take that 5,000 off.
No, I'm just conversation.
Yeah, no, there might still be some money there too.
No, I mean, I don't want to add any extra work to your plate, Kathy, you know? I really don't.
Yeah, I'm just putting out the different things that we can do. And I would be more than glad to put this out to see what kind of reaction we get from some of the other companies. We have done it in the past. The last time we did it, I will say most of them were over $100,000 for the service we asked. Cochran kept us where? They kept us at 70,000 in that. If you just have somebody out there just listing the buildings, you could drop that down to 40,000 or 50,000 if that's all they did was go out there and do the listing on the buildings. But we also are paying for another service that is involved there. And some of it has to be done by what they consider the certified appraiser, because you have to be certified assessor. You have to be certified by the state in order to do certain things.
In all fairness, I mean, she's the assessing director, that's what she should be doing. She does a whole lot more, which is not fair to Kathy.
No, I agree. I just soon, you know, I just soon leave her budget, personally, for now.
Well, we got on your professional services, you've used to date $300.
Right.
Remaining $700.
Right. And right now, I have a couple merges, I have a couple line adjustments, and like I said, if there was a correction on a map, I don't have many now, but that's going to be, you know, for everything as of March 31st next year, April 1st, and everything as is, and that's when I do the changes to the map.
On April 1st.
Of 18.
So mandated by the state, are we behind with that at all?
No, but there's been years, I mean, I've been here for a while, but if we had a large subdivision that took place, the map changes that would take into place, I would use my $1,000 up just like that. So there was a time when I had almost $3,000 or $4,000 sitting in that line. Because of the economy and everything that's taken place, it's dropped right down to $1,000 now. If we start picking up with a lot of subdivisions and things like that, then you're going to see that line increase.
Thank you, Kathy.
You're welcome.
All set, guys? Is that right? Okay, on to planning.
So we want to do
No,
motion to
I don't.
accept this.
I want to look it over.
Didn't we just look it over?
I did, but I need more time with it. You can make a motion. Go ahead and make a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to accept the proposed assessing department budget of 2018 of $124,013.36.
I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
No.
Okay, so on to planning and code.
Okay. The request for the planning and code comes in as salary full-time, increase of, comes in at $37,160, and that is for the land use clerk. 1.7 COLA and 2% merit, includes the raise from 2017. As you know, we talked about that during the year. You also are aware that cost of living increases by Social Security went to 2%, so 1.7 puts us a little bit under. That's an increase of 5,383. The overtime for night meetings for land use clerks averages 6 hours a month. 2 planning board, Milton Conservation and ZBA, that's $319 increase for a total of $2,000. And then the salary for the part-time code enforcer, building inspector, health officer includes 1.7 COLA and 2% merit, which is an increase of $1,043, and that's $29.42. And our code enforcement officer has been here how many years?
22.
22. A lot of years. Thank you.
Long time.
Long time.
Okay.
And then FICA and Medicare are all functions of those numbers. And I'll let him take it from here.
Okay. Floor's yours, Ryan.
Well, my 240 line is training. We have 400 in that, and that's, no increase, it's gonna stay the same. Registry of the deeds is 25, that's, we have to register through the planning board to register deeds and this kind of thing. Contracted services, we're asking for 1,900 more. And that will go into the part-time planner's position and see if he does the, right now he does the zoning, planning, etc. And we've got coming, hopefully, GIS, and he will most likely be our coordinator in that. I mean, he set this up before, and he's in other towns. And then we have the updates for the building department software, and that is the reason for the 1,900 increase. Notice and ads, stays the same at 200. Professional services, we've increased it by 199 to add Adobe AutoCAD, which gives Dana the ability to print out more of our own permits, etc., and will save us printing costs in the long run. Printing has not changed, it's 75.
Brian, the professional services, the Adobe,
Yeah.
the 2018, your request is $200. Did I get that? Oh.
Yep.
2016 was $4,000. Then when 2017 budget was $1, and then $200. Is that right?
Yep.
Okay. And that's the budget. That's not just the increase, right?
Right.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep, and then we go on to printing and copies of 75 will stay the same. Supplies will be 500, will stay the same. Postage 250, this is stay the same. The maintenance of equipment, for copy, 2 computers, a laptop, and 2 printers. We put in 150 for purchase of new equipment if needed. That line's not changed. And mileage and travel, that's if the vehicle isn't available, we have $75 in that line. Dues and membership is $550, and that covers building inspector, code, and health officer, and all those memberships we have to belong to. And we put 50 in miscellaneous, and this has not been increased.
So other than contracted services, really his budget's up just on his salaries, really, pretty much is what it boils down to. And FICA and
Let's speak about the salary for a minute. Is that for that position there? That the full-time salary?
That's for David.
yeah.
Okay. And that's a
Right, and
is
that
that
was from the
a $4,000
last year.
increase?
It's a $5,000,
$5,000 increase?
$5,383 when you add in COLA
Yeah.
and the merit.
That's a lot.
Well, that's because of the raise we gave her.
You've got to understand.
Oh, wait a minute, does that include the,
That includes the merit and the COLA for 6 months.
right, I'm sorry, that includes there was a mid-year increase, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
I thought that this was beyond the
No.
mid-year increase.
No.
Mm-mm.
Okay,
That was after
okay.
the adjustment that was made.
Mm-hmm. Anything, guys? Are you all set with it, Mike?
Yeah.
Do I have a motion to accept the planning code's proposal budget?
I'll make that motion.
Okay.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Up next is the planning board.
Me again.
Brian.
Oh, first line is training, and we're requesting the same as we did last year. This pays for training if any of the members of the planning board want to go to the state planning board meetings, that type of thing. Public notices is $400. It has remained the same. This is required by RSA, and usually the public notice is paid for by the applicant, so it's just, it's a wash, but it goes to the general fund.
You know you're overexpended in that line, right?
Yes. Copies, printing and copies has remained the same at 100. Supplies, again, still staying at 100. Postage, 200, same. Mileage and travel, again, if we have to go and there's not a town vehicle available, we have this in our line to use. Bruce uses it somewhat because he'll take trips to Concord with his own vehicle. The next one is GIS data, assets, and map layers. This is an added line we put in this year. We've asked for $500. This is in anticipation that the data, the GIS data passes. And if it does, this will be able to get us started on more layers to get, each layer you add something new to the GIS, I mean, the flood maps, etc.
This is also in the CIP too, right?
Right,
Yeah.
right. This layer is, the CIP is just the GIS, and we've added this 500 in so we can add layers to it.
Mhm.
I think most of the other departments might do also the same to get their stuff in. That's
Some of
it.
this stuff I say out loud because we're on camera, that's all.
That's all right, yeah, no problem.
So, okay,
Yeah, no, I'm fine with it.
so.
Actually, the
on
only
your-
we went up almost $500, and that was for the GIS labor layers.
So on your postage, you use pretty much little to nothing. And where I'm going with this is your overexpended line of public notices. Would you be comfortable bringing that down to 150 and increasing your public notice to 450?
Well, both the public notice and the postage, most of the postage is sending out certified letters for public hearings and that's paid for by the applicant.
Okay,
That comes right back to us.
okay, so again,
But it's like it's like the recording of deeds. We charge them for it,
Yeah.
and they pay for it, but it goes into the
General
general
fund.
general fund.
It
It
doesn't
doesn't
come back to
line.
our lines.
all right, you do see where I'm going with this,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, I
All
understand.
right.
You got any questions, Ryan?
No?
Do I have a motion to accept the planning board's,
I'll make that
Proposed-
motion to accept the planning board's proposed budget.
I'll second it.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So up next is the cemetery trustee budget. And are you gonna?
That's John's right here. The $10,000 budget. And he broke it out this year, $6,000 for cemetery maintenance, town cemetery maintenance, and $4,000 for the administrative cost for part-time stipend for versus assigned to work. And there's gonna be he's looking at having somebody assigned to do the work.
This budget's always flatlined anyways. Are you guys all set with this budget?
Right. He more than runs a tight ship.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's always been 10,000, so.
You all set with that?
Yep.
Okay, I'll make that motion to accept the cemetery trustee's budget for a total of $10,000.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Up next is the Conservation Commission. So,
They were all notified.
were they all aware?
Oh, absolutely. Everybody was notified. Everybody got an email. I was under the impression somebody was coming tonight from them, so maybe we should skip over and come back to it, because I did hear they were coming.
All right. Up
Moderator.
next is the moderator.
Do you want to do it, Michelle, or should I?
I don't even know what his budget looks like.
Okay. We worked on it one day with him. Basically, the moderator's budget went up because there is increase to accommodate 3 elections next year.
Right.
So the moderator has salary elected $525, election officials $2,434, supplies of $300, and equipment maintenance of $825.
So, were they, the booths themselves, I know we had purchased some last year.
We did purchase 2 sets of boots last year.
S-
This
sets-
is 2017, I mean,
Yeah. Sets meaning 4, 2 each, or sets that way,
8 total.
8 total.
Did he budget for additional boots for this?
Well, it's up, what, $275?
He does need to replace some of the aluminum trays on the existing, the older boots that we have are ripped. Those aluminum trays are ripped, and those do need to be replaced, so if he has it in his budget, it's a good thing.
Yeah. No, I mean, most of those ballots, you know, where you load, I lost the words, but anyways, they're very old.
Yeah.
He should really try to replace a couple every year.
Right, and I think he wanted to start with the newer ones first, and then I think he's gonna adjust make payment, but, you know, take care of the older ones.
Yeah. Okay. I'm fine with that budget. I mean, it's really nothing we can do. It's
I know.
just,
No, I know.
yeah. So you guys all set?
What I was worried about
Good.
was the cost of new booths every year.
He won't be buying a new set this year.
Okay, that's where I was going with this.
Well, I'm sorry.
You all set with that, Ryan?
Yep, I'll make a motion if you want to
Go
accept
ahead.
the 2018 moderator budget.
Second?
All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Next one's the treasurer.
What's that?
Next one's the treasurer.
Yeah, let me get to it. So up next is the treasurer, Mrs. Arnold. Floor is yours.
I did not realize, I was told the raises were 1.7. I didn't realize it was a 2% COLA,
It's vice versa.
but whatever it is. I was
Okay.
told it was 1.7 was what we were getting for raises.
Mhm.
No, 1.7 is a COLA.
Right. But nobody told me about the 2%.
That's merit.
Right, so I would like to have that adjusted and have 2% added to that line.
To $400?
No, the $400 is for the deputy treasurer.
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
talking
yeah,
about
yeah.
the 130 line, which is the treasurer's salary.
Do you have a calculator here? Do we know what that is?
I'll go get it. Somebody took it. Get it. I'll make them go get it.
Mike,
Do you have one?
what page is that?
Should be on my desk.
Page 2.
Or my top drawer.
See this right here, Ian? Just back of this right here is the index.
Oh, okay.
So while he's doing that, we'll go down to the training line. The training line is going to stay at 100. The next line down is telephone, which is a stipend, $15 a month. Office supplies is the next line down, that's still staying at 300. The post office box went up $1, so it's $76 compared to $75 last year.
But I thought we were gonna bring the mail to the town hall and do away with that.
Oh, we could have told them that.
Okay, all right. We'll talk about it.
Times. Okay, 6,875 plus 137.50.
What'd you come up with for a total?
I'm getting it up here. Okay, so it will be 7012.50.
7 point,
7,001.250.
so I need to adjust the FICA and the Medicare then.
Yeah.
So 7,000 what?
$7,012.50.
Okay.
Okay, FICA would be 434.77.
Is the telephone line new, or am I just missing it again? In the expenditure report.
I think she said that was a stipend that was paid.
So is that under a different section in the expenditure report?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't.
So I don't see what else.
And,
That's new line.
It's
The
new.
line.
It's a
and
new
then
one.
Medicare becomes 101.68.
So do you have a new bottom line?
That's what she's working on.
I do. I just want to double check. I come up with 10,733.95, but I want to double check.
10,000
That's
what?
less than.
That's
That's
less.
less than, so it doesn't look right. So that's why I want to double check. That's why I always like to have a tape running when I do this.
So Pam, your
It's gonna be 11,000.
miscellaneous line was overexpended by $138.
Yep, that's because we
Like
had
this.
two
Yeah, I'm gonna double check.
11,100.
background checks that we had to do.
Okay.
So I put in two, when you look at the new one for this,
You take it.
for 18, I
It's
put in
90
two
It's gonna
there.
change.
$94. That represents?
That's two background checks.
Okay.
Okay, my new total is $11,133.95.
Thank you. Let's go back to where we were. Mileage and travel, I put down 24. I think it's going to be over that. If you remember last year, we cut it back quite a bit. Andy wanted to cut back. And the agreement was that if it went over, that you would find the money someplace else. That's exactly what's happened this year. I told Andy last year that in October we would be out of money by doing the number that he recommended. And that's exactly what happened. So it's going to be 2 more months that we're going to have to find money for. So I wanted to move it up to 24, but still with the same caveat that if it goes over, then we're going to find the money someplace else.
So, all right, so it doesn't show it over expended.
Because the year's not done yet. So if October was in there, October would be, it's right around 230.
You still have October?
We have October, November, and December, so that's what, over $1,000 that needs to be added to. I don't know what, I didn't get the form that you were looking at, so I can't help you with that. But right now, this October is due, and then of course November and December. So say 230.
So what is your monthly mileage?
I beg your pardon?
What is your monthly mileage cost?
The monthly is about $230 a month. So and October is not in there. So you have to add October, November, and December to that to come to an annual figure.
I mean, isn't there some way that you could get creative?
Like,
Like, I mean, how many times do you go to the bank in a week?
you remember the policy that you signed? It says, the very first line says the treasurer will go to the bank every single day.
Mm-hmm. And do you go every single day?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Just using rough numbers here, Pam.
Mm-hmm.
October, November, December.
Yep.
3 months.
About $230 a month is what.
Okay, so you'd
average.
be shy
So
about,
well, 3 times 230, right around 1,000.
right, minus,
This year we're going to be
minus
short.
what's left in the budget right now.
Right.
Okay, so, but still.
Yeah.
But you're only asking for, what, a $200 increase?
Right. So
That doesn't make sense.
Well, you know, do it whatever you want, but if things were to change next year.
What I'm saying is, you're still gonna be overexpended.
Mhm.
But
For the last 4 years.
230.
For the last 4 years.
Isn't $1,000.
No.
No, $230 times 3.
460.
690.
690.
Yep. So for the last 4 years, Ryan, this line has always come in over budget. The first 2 years that happened, I paid for it myself. Last year, I put in for $2,900, and we negotiated it down to the 22, but with the caveat that if it goes over, we find the money someplace else. And so what we did last year, we took out the last month, like 2.5 months out of the town administrator's travel line because there was excess money in there.
I mean, couldn't we delegate some runs? Michelle goes.
No, the state statute says that the treasurer, the money is turned over to the treasurer. And that would be a conflict of interest. As, when we had Attorney Sessler here, he said exactly that's what you should not be doing, is somebody who is handling money is to be taking their own money. The treasurer is the one. It's a separation of duties that the legislature has set up.
Okay.
What's that RSA or statute you're referencing?
The number?
Yeah.
I don't have it right here with me. But if you want to look it up, it's just the duties of the treasurer.
I think duties of the treasurer. I think they're under 41.
Hmm?
RSA 41 talks about the duties of the treasurer.
Mhm.
So the postage line,
Mm-hmm.
that's a PO box?
Yes, it is, yep, and it
Just
went
a
up
PO
$1.
box?
Yep. The auditors have recommended that the bank statements come to the town office. What they don't realize is we don't get bank statements in the mail. We get them automatically off of the computer. We go into the Federal Savings website and we pull off our bank statements at the end of the month. I do that. The town administrator has access to that. The financial consultant has access to that, and the bookkeeper has access to that. So if I talk to the bank, if we were to get paper statements, it's $3 a statement. We get about 30 of them. And it's kind of like walking backwards in time, Ryan. Everybody gets their
So
statements.
I guess what I'm trying to understand is what do we need a postage box for?
Because I do get notices of investments that are coming due. We have, right now, probably about $2 million in different investments that come due at various times, so we need to get the update on that. I also get investment rates from other banks so that when we're comparing rates, we know where we're getting the best rate, that type of thing.
So why can't all this stuff go to the town postage box?
Because it's the treasurer's business to take care of that.
But the treasurer and the town, and we're all supposed to be working together. I don't understand why we can't
I think
use
that is
one
working
postage
together.
box.
Huh?
Why is the town, why would we need to pay for 2 postage boxes? I don't understand that.
Some of the stuff that I get is confidential. I get audits, and they want to have numbers verified.
But the town gets confidential stuff all the time.
What's happened with my mail accidentally that comes here is completely not gone into my office type thing. It's
So-
gone it's gone around.
How long have you had this postage box for?
20 years.
So if you have your own postage box, you're saying that in 20 years, I mean, that means 20 years it's just all been going to your postage box, eh? So we don't even know if we change that to come to the town hall, that might even not be an issue anymore.
It is an issue with me. We've had this issue with the selectmen before, and the town attorney said you can ask, but you cannot tell the treasurer. You can ask.
I just have a hard time seeing that we need 2 postage boxes.
I believe other departments have postage boxes too. Did you take it out of the other one?
Do they?
I think they get mail delivered to wherever.
I have one.
I have one.
Yes,
I prefer to keep mine separate.
I do too. And I truly think that we should.
So, can I get back to your mileage,
Sure.
Pam?
Yep, let's do it.
Your correct figure, by the figures you're giving me, should be 2890.
Mm-hmm, 2,900, yep. And that's what it was last year. But
Right.
we asked, I think it was Andy that asked me to bring that down, and I agreed to
But
that.
it doesn't make financial sense
I agree.
to grind it to the end of the year and then
Yep.
have to find the money someplace
I
else.
agree. I agree.
Just so it's,
So let's change that to 29, then, if you like.
would be my recommendation.
Okay.
Wouldn't be mine.
Because 4 years in a row, this line has been overspent. So it's time to move it up.
Well, you can delegate
Mm-hmm.
for people to make, I'm reading it right now, you can delegate
Yes, I can.
for people to make deposits.
The treasurer can.
And there's no reason why that we cannot work together.
I have a deputy. If I want to, the deputy would be the one to do that.
Who's your deputy?
Loretta Banks.
We just have to pay mileage for that, right?
No, you don't.
No.
So you don't have to pay mileage for a deputy treasurer, Joe? But we have to, why?
I just, I just would, I just don't understand why you just can't delegate,
I am delegating.
for people to make deposits.
I am delegating, Andy. We have a deputy treasurer. And
When
if
was
she-
the last time you delegated something to the deputy treasurer?
I've been here 20 years, I never have had to. And if we did, Andy, we're gonna pay her $10 an hour.
So I'm fine with leaving the treasurer's mileage at what she's requesting, $2,400. But, is that,
I don't know, to be honest, there's a lot of things here I'm not quite understanding, but
Now would be the time to bring it up.
I guess I don't, I mean, you said you're delegating, but then you're saying you haven't delegated anything in 20 years.
I
so-
have a person I can delegate it to, which is the deputy treasurer. I haven't had a need to do that. That would be if I was ill or something like that.
But you'd have to pay her $10 an hour.
Yes.
like I said, I'm fine. I'm fine with the 24. Has the BOS even, on your deputy treasurer? It's the first I'm hearing it. Have we even? It's the first I'm hearing that the Banks is your deputy treasurer.
You voted on that
When?
back in June.
Not the Banks.
Yes, we did. And remember, it was pending background checks, and we did background checks, and they passed it fine.
Can you look up the minutes for that?
I think they have minutes.
I think it was like June 5th or June 6th.
The board decided to wait an appointment until the background checks comes back.
Right, and it did come back, and it was fine.
But they didn't vote. Did you vote to appoint them?
No,
No, I haven't voted to appoint anybody.
no,
It's the first
there has
time.
been no vote for appointment.
Well, then, let's do it right now, then. Let's put Loretta Banks' name out there, then.
We're not gonna do that tonight.
Okay.
Like I said, I'm fine with the 2,400. Gonna have to get creative somehow to.
And if the
to-
line is overspent, what happens, Andy?
Like I said, I strongly think that you can get creative and figure out how to get the deposits. You have people here that can make deposits as well.
Sussler said that no one who handles cash should be making the deposit, because they, in effect, would be checking on themselves. That's the town attorney's opinion. He was very firm about that.
So I think maybe what we need to do is get a legal opinion on this.
I was reading the RSA's here.
So, I don't know, I'm gonna make the recommendation that.
The
we
treasurer
table
may
this budget.
delegate deposits, investments, record keepings, to help keep the cost. I mean,
It's still gonna cost you $10 an hour if I ask her to do a deposit.
no, not if we have somebody that's going to Rochester anyways.
You cannot have somebody who handles cash making physical deposits. The legislature has set this up in such a way that it's a system of checks and balances.
So I think.
Well, I mean,
'cause we seem to be a
even the
little-
chief of police, even the police department can make.
And we still have deposits from his department. He would be handling his own deposits.
I mean, I know other communities where the police make deposits, they can make them here. You know, I'm not comfortable with moving the line. There's other means of getting the deposits to Rochester. I'm gonna leave it at $2,400. And back to the telephone stipend. I'll make a motion to take the telephone stipend. I don't have a telephone stipend. I get inundated with emails.
This
and
is a
phone,
security, this is a
and then phone
security
calls.
thing.
I get inundated with phone
No,
calls.
this is not personal phone calls, this is security. We had an incident down at the bank, and I did not have a cell phone. And it was recommended that I have a cell phone in case we have an incident with the money again.
Well, that's, you know, I have my own personal phone, so, and I'm elected, so, my motion is to move line 450. And my motion also is to keep line 840 the same.
So I'd like to table this until we can get a legal opinion, so we have all the information, everybody's clear on what we can and can't do.
So what am I getting a legal opinion on? Can you be very specific?
Well, I don't know, I mean, I guess we should probably agree upon if we're gonna table it or not. If we're not gonna table it, I mean, I guess we still should get a legal opinion, but I think
So
without all
it's
the
about
information,
Yeah, about mileage and
not worth
deposits and all of that, right? The specific questions we need to ask legal.
yes.
So we probably should table it. We'll come up with some specific questions that we need to have legal answers. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, a big one seems like the delegation of deposits.
I think we've asked this question in the past.
We have.
We have, and you sat here, you had a conference call with the town attorney, and you sat here, and he reiterated very firmly that you cannot do that. That's the separation, that you cannot have somebody else doing it who has a monetary interest in it. Somebody who's taking in cash and doing deposits and like that cannot be the person to do it.
I might be able to check my email because I think I asked for it written a long time ago, and I can check and see if I have an email on this. But I may be recalling it differently. I don't know.
He was very firm about it.
Maybe it was before my time because I think there was a different recollection of it than I'm recalling. But does anybody else have any recollection in the audience about this conversation?
This would have been a closed meeting. The selectmen had a telephone conference with the town attorney. So there would have been anybody else present.
No, but I mean about deposit, what the
town attorney said?
About what the law says, not necessarily what the town attorney says.
I
And now
think
we
you
have a
need to pay
different.
attention to what the town attorney says.
Well, we have a different town attorney now.
So
Yeah.
would there be a different opinion?
Shouldn't be, but but I do know that I did ask recently.
Mike, you were here, weren't you?
Yep,
Do you remember that?
I do.
Yes, he was firm, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was.
He was very firm.
Does
State statute or his opinion?
That was his,
His interpretation of the state
Yeah.
statute.
does anybody know anything differently in the background? Because I'm seeing people looking around. So
Are you taking suggestions from the audience?
no, I'm just looking. Michelle, Chief, the two chiefs, if they know of anything. Okay.
My interpretation of what the RSA says and what an attorney's interpretation is going to be completely different, so.
Okay. I'm gonna look in my email too because I think that there was a different interpret, and I think it might have even go back to Sessler, so that's what I'm kind of surprised at. But I could be wrong because it's been a while. But I will
How
find
long
out.
would it take you to go look?
Have you seen her in front of her computer or email?
No, it's just it's a serious question. Would it take you? Would it take a couple minutes, a minute?
I think that we would be better off to
I can look quickly.
she can do a search.
I mean, that's what I'm gonna do is go do a search. If you give me.
get it, look at it, read it, because I know if you recall from what LGC has told us and other attorneys have told us about reading off attorney emails word for word, it's not recommended, so I don't think we want to get ourselves in a bad position. I think we'd be better off to table it and take a look at it and discuss it at the next meeting maybe.
But I would like to ask for a fresh opinion anyways because it's been a while.
All right. Do I have a motion?
I think that was his motion, right?
Yeah, or, yeah, motion to table it, I guess.
Find
Yep.
who can make deposits, how the treasurer could delegate it.
Yeah. And the restrictions on who the treasurer can delegate the
Restrictions
deposits to.
on delegating. Anything else?
No, because finding that out answers the
Speak
mileage
now,
line.
kind of for hold your peace, I'm asking you.
Second,
All in favor?
aye.
Aye.
Alright,
Okay, up next.
what about the rest of the budget though?
What's that?
Are you doing anything with the rest of this budget?
No, we're gonna just motion
Table
the
it.
whole budget. I mean, we're gonna table the budget until you get the answers from the
Okay,
attorney. Is that was your motion, right, Ryan?
Yep.
Okay.
okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Pam.
Okay, so up next is the sewer. Wastewater.
Wastewater?
That's good.
What's that?
Is that why I have all these down?
That's why you have all those, I believe.
Should I just pass them around? Okay, 1, 2, pass them, these are packets, I'll pass them
I'm
down.
sorry.
Are these updates?
These are
Yeah, I
updates.
had a couple updates today.
Oh, okay. All right.
He's going in the right direction, you'll be happy.
Neil's always in the right direction.
Ryan, did you get one?
Yep.
Okay, I'll go by the next one.
Oh,
He is here, see?
Steve.
I told you.
My apologies.
Oh, no worries.
We just voted it down.
Yep. I don't know, is he not outside? He may have been sent to a call. Mhm. 301, 304. What's your 18?
We good for a start?
Yep, we're good now. My bad.
Similar to the last lady that spoke, I had put in a 3% increase in for 2018. Sounds like you're potentially max of 3.7. I don't know if you wanted to add the 0.7 into this line. Now, obviously, you'll review my contract in May, and then you can make a decision at that point what you're ultimately want to put in there. But I'm suggesting if you put 3.7, that's there. If you don't put it in, then the money won't be there. So you know what I'm saying. So if you want to put the 0.7 in and make a slight adjustment, that's what I would recommend. I didn't have a calculator, so I didn't calculate what it is, but I'd recommend you do that. And when budget comes up, you can look at it.
Okay, you'll do that?
Yep, do you want me to do it? I mean, we talked,
You can do it when you're ready.
Well, if we're gonna approve budget, we should have to do it now.
Okay.
because we had talked about it, and he said just ready for it.
Good, so she'll do that,
Yeah.
you can, thank you.
Legal notices and ads is really, haven't really spent much money there over the years, so I've been decreasing it on an annual basis. It's down to $100 now for 2018. The big one here, electric. I went through the electric bills and I caught an error that I think that I made. I found where I think the town paid for July and August in the same bill, so I only treated it as 1 month paid. So when I did the math initially, it was looked much higher, but is with 9 months in there. I'd like to reduce that line from 16,000 to 14,500 based on the new information. I would like to, I did talk to Heather about going away from Eversource in terms of paying for energy supply, but she informed me that I can't do that because of contractual obligations, I guess, that the town has with the solar. So I don't know if you can or want to do anything, but based on what I see, we could save the wastewater department about $2,500 a year if I could switch over to another energy supplier. So just something to think about. If you can do anything, that's the type of money we're talking about changing here. So reducing this line by $2,500 by going to direct energy or some other source of supply. So I just want to let you know that that's there if you can make it work out. The heat is down $736, mostly because of pricing. I think we'll be good with a new price of $2,264. The water is just up a little bit. That's 4 quarters of minimal water use. At what, $280 a quarter now, I believe, is what they're charging. Telephone security remains the same. Supplies, historically, I've spent about $7,000, so that remains the same. Postage, similar to legal notices, really haven't spent what's been budgeted over the years, so I've been decreasing that. I cut that down to $100. Buildings and grounds maintenance, I'm going to leave that to be the same. The equipment maintenance at $4,000 remains the same. Equipment purchase remains the same at $500. Sewer line maintenance, use that for repairing manholes and taking care of the system, remains at $2,600. And the other one here, if you look on the information that Heather handed to you, I had initially put in $8,710 for permits in testing. I'd like to reduce that to $8,000. So really a $500 increase. CMA engineers had, I think they were about $300 more in the past annual report that they give to DES. It's required, and so that's $300 of that, $500 increase, and then a couple $100 in case there's any other increase in testing. So, so I brought that down from $8,710 to $8,000 even. And the mileage is $1. It's basically a placeholder in case, you know, I or somebody charges for mileage. And miscellaneous, again, $1. It's just a placeholder. I don't know if we've ever really used it. So I think the bottom line is $84,451 as it is, whatever the 0.7 is.
Okay,
so.
the 0.7 makes it to 30, makes the contract services line 33,547. So it brings it up to $84,605.
80 what?
$84,605.
And we take in between, well, we bill out, I should say, between $88,000 and $90,000 on an annual basis. So we're there.
I was just going to say that this budget is paid through usage fees. So
it is.
There's none of this stuff, any taxpayer has to pick up, of course. Right. So
try to run it tight,
yeah.
and stays about the same every year. So. Do you have any questions on any of the lines? I know we went through them pretty fast, so.
It's okay. If you could get that electric bill down 2,500, you would almost be flatlining your budget.
I would. I need some help.
Yeah, we'll look into it.
Yeah.
I've asked before, but unfortunately,
I'm paying them.
Yeah, we'll look into it. Of course, I want to look into it more.
Thanks.
So, yeah,
that would be a big help if we could. So.
That could be across the board.
Yep.
It'd be for everybody, but I did hear back today that the attorney should have all those contracts by next week.
Okay.
Hopefully. But
okay, we'll look into it.
Okay. Well, hopefully it works out.
Yeah.
All right, you guys good with this?
Yep.
Yeah.
Make a motion to accept the 2018 wastewater department budget
For the
for the modified 0.7% of the contract services with a total of $84,605.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Want to go back to conservation?
Yeah. We'll go back to the Conservation Commission real quick.
Maybe we should go back.
Thank you.
What's that?
Or should we keep going? I don't know. It's up to you.
No, I'm sorry. With all due respect, do you mind just waiting? Stan has been here since
I don't mind
since
at
the
all.
beginning. Thanks,
He
Steve.
gets up really early.
Yeah, I know he does. So
Get up at 3:30 in the morning.
I know you do, Stan. So I apologize.
I thought it'd be the other way.
We'll go on to the zoning board.
Okay, zoning board. As you know, the zoning board, majority of the funds is paid by the applicant, but we still have to put it through the budget as everything else. Training staying the same at $250. Registry of deeds is going to be going up $208. There's been a very active year in 2017 with the zoning board. We don't see that really changing much, which in turn means more money spent on registry of deeds. Public notice is staying the same at $400. Printing and copying staying the same at $100. Supplies staying at $35. And postage is going up $207, again, due to the activity with the board. And as you know, the board doesn't get paid anything. It's a volunteer board. So the total budget is $1,500 for the year.
And this is another board that takes a fee and
Goes
Mhm.
into a general fund.
And we're required by law, if someone has an application to do the process, we can't say no.
right. Another really no-brainer.
Yeah. You guys all set with that budget?
I'll make a motion to accept the 2018 zoning board addition of $1,500.
Second it?
All in favor?
Aye.
And an FYI, the next one, I don't know why it's there, but it's not under your say.
Yeah, it's just listed on there.
All the water, okay.
Yeah,
It's not. We
All
don't
right.
even have a budget for it, so
I'm sorry.
we don't have a budget for it. So
We don't, the water district doesn't give the budget to the town.
I know. It just was listed as to other budgets we had to
It
list
does go
it.
to the budget committee,
Yeah,
but it doesn't go to the town.
that's because you have you guys commissioners.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Jack is there.
Thank you.
You found out we got the new one.
Yeah, we got keys to the pocket.
Don't say it.
I still will.
No, she said she was.
Oh,
gonna be late.
7:30.
7:30. Okay. Okay, so we'll go back to the Conservation Commission.
Okay, my apologies,
Oh, no worries.
I didn't, if you could give me a copy, I'll look at it. I
Jeez,
was working
Steve.
outside, I was working outside until late. But my recollection is that the only major increase from over the default budget from this year is professional services, which is about a $500 increase. And that's, well, the biggest single ticket item in that category is the water testing, which is roughly $1,600. But we also spent a lot of money this year on going to Stratford Regional Planning Commission, who has been doing a lot of mapping for us and trying to relegate the tax maps with the situation on the ground. So, as well as a lot of resource mapping for ongoing projects. So that's the increase. I think that's pretty much it for increases, but I can go through each. Yeah. Well, $25 for office supplies. We cut that down to 0 last year because we just hadn't needed any, and this year we did end up using some. So we put it back in at $25. Everything else is identical. Should I go through each item and justify it? Because I know Ryan wasn't here last year.
Sure, if you don't, yeah, you could run down through your budget.
Yep, okay.
Thank you.
So, training is a combination of there are various training opportunities for new members, and we've had a lot of turnover. And they're basically conferences, and there's a fee to go to them. And it's usually, the one we like the best is $50. So we put in enough for 3 commissioners. The legal defense We had asked for more initially, and the Board of Selectmen cut us down to 2,500, which we're happy to get. And this is for ongoing legal issues, of which we have, unfortunately, several. And the major costs should be finished now, because we went to trial for the 2 main cases. We won.
Good job.
It didn't take much to win this, except for money, because these. At any rate, the problem now is that we'll have ongoing expenses to cover the implementation of whatever these people have to do to fix what they did wrong. So we've already spent money on the lawyers, but basically it's been about a $25,000 fiasco. That's about what we've paid so far. So this is just a certain amount that defrays that, and to some degree it's an acknowledgement that this is the kind of thing that's going to happen in the future. The reason is that we had, back in the 90s and the 80s, there were a number of conservation easements done, which you have to applaud because those are the very earliest days of conservation easements, but basically the town didn't know what they were doing. And Brian can attest to this. And now we have a lot of people who are violating the easements in minor ways. These 2 cases, one of them was minor, but the people just were utterly uncooperative. The other one was major. So even the minor ones are expensive. So we're going to have more of these ongoing, but we've spent a lot of money, and we don't really have any regular income, and that's something that we need to work towards, because being funded purely off of the 50% of the land use change tax works well when you have land use change tax coming in, but it doesn't work so well when it's not. So, professional services we've been over. Printing, we dropped that last year, and we actually didn't use it. The main reason we didn't use it is we've just been totally occupied with these lawsuits. Now we're hoping once we get off of that, we're actually going to put on some programs which can be of benefit to the town, particularly people around the lakes. Probably relevant to the NIAID, among other things. Educational programs. The mailing cost is also essentially to cover mailing for that publicity. Membership dues remains the same. That is actual expenses of the organizations which we join. We pay them a yearly membership fee. And miscellaneous is $1 just to keep that line item open. So basically it's the same except for the increase in professional services.
Any questions?
So the professional services, you have started the time frame monitoring of the easements?
Oh, well that actually comes out of the, that's not this. That comes out of the conservation fund. We have 3 conservation funds which are funded by land use change tax and have currently roughly $100,000.
So, but it's not in this budget here?
It's not in that
Okay,
budget.
thank you.
No.
I'm all set with this budget.
Good.
You guys up?
Yep.
Okay.
I'm gonna
Do I have
make
a motion?
To accept the 2018 proposed Conservation Commission budget.
For $6,000.
$6,123.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thank you, Brian, so thanks, Steve.
Oh, that's anything here.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hold on.
I have copies.
I revised it. I'm going to sit out there so that you can do it better.
Okay.
There should be enough for everybody.
Thank you, Steve.
You're welcome.
I just changed this one for another to sit out.
Okay.
So up next is the Budget Committee. Bob is gonna,
Okay,
What page is it?
what budget you got
It is
right
in
now on the
Huh?
professional?
I didn't get it.
You all set?
It's right here. Yep.
oh, it's this one.
Yeah, I changed it this afternoon because I saw another error in there. But so, what you see now currently is the professional services has only one line. That only covers the recording clerk and the legal notices. What we did this year was we broke it down.
Yep, go ahead. Yep.
All right. We added 2 more lines to this. So I'll go over the first one. We budgeted for 22 meetings at $75 for the recording clerk, and that comes out to $1,650. Training is new. This takes care of the, anyone who wants to go to the municipal budget classes. I budgeted enough for 2 people. This is new. We have not sent anybody since 2014. This year, I think there's at least 3 of them that just went through it. The other one that's new is the printing copies. I budgeted, oh wait, for the training, I put $200 in there. Now, printing copies, I put in for $425. This covers the expenditure reports and the agenda, and there must be something else in there, and the other documents that we asked for. This is a new line, and I'm not sure what it will cover. For the last 2 years, and actually going to 3 almost, I've been printing these copies out at my own cost. But I've had help with Suzanne and Larry Brown. They helped me with the paper. They bought me 5 reams of paper. But the only reason I gotta stop this because I'm not gonna be on the budget committee forever and nobody's gonna pick up the tab to do this. This was done back, this started all in 2014 only because we lost a secretary. And I didn't know who I would talk to do the printing, because at the time, this was coming out of the town administrator's budget. And I remember talking to you about this, Heather, and you said it's about time we put our own budget in. So what it is, I've done it, and I'm only taking a wild guess at this, at $425. I'm gonna ask the budget committee not to print a expenditure report for January, February, and March because there is no budget. It's actually technically working off the 2017, but there'll be no line in there, and there'll be expenses, but there'll be nothing to measure anything with. So I'm gonna put, I don't want them to print out that for nothing. You're gonna get nothing out of it. And the only thing I need to do here is to find someone who's going to do the printing of all this. That's the only thing I gotta find out, who's gonna be in charge and how we're gonna measure this. So.
Yeah, you
Okay.
should have the chairman of the board work those details out somewhere, because if you can't be paying for this stuff anymore,
Well,
I'm glad you put it in here.
Well, I have, and that's my fault for doing that. I'm setting a bad precedence, because we haven't had a secretary in maybe 2 years, and we had one temporary for a while. And somebody has to keep doing this, and I didn't pursue it. You know, I did it, I've had help. The only thing, get cartridges, I get very tight. If it looks good on fast draft, I print that way. I get more out of it. So, the other one is legal notices. I budgeted that for $325. That takes care for the public hearing for the town, the school, and the water district. And the total budget comes out to $2,600.
And I remember that the budget committee had voted on that for $2,600. So the budget committee is going to supply the expenditure reports now?
Well, if this budget passes, right now, Mike has been covering for me. He's been doing the expenditure reports for the last 2-3 months, so I haven't had to print any of them out. That kind of helped me out some. But if this passes, if it don't pass, then I don't know where we're going to go from there.
Well, if it don't pass, trust me, you're not gonna be paying for it.
Right.
I tried 2 years ago to go paperless, and it just didn't work. Because everybody had the devices, but when you come to the paper and they bring something up, it's very hard to find that line, and
Mhm.
it's easier to see on paper than it is on the screen, so I had to give it up.
Yeah.
Any other questions on that? I mean, right now, we do not have a secretary, so there's gonna be money probably going back.
So
And as for next year, I'm not even sure.
I just have I guess, a comment, concern, or question, or whatever you want to call it. I
Okay.
certainly don't think you should be paying for the copies, but isn't the town supplying the copies to the budget committee? So,
The expenditure
the
reports.
expenditure report, wouldn't it? I mean, it's printed from in here at town hall,
It comes out of her budget.
because everything that gets printed in that copier comes out of her budget, right?
Yeah.
So aren't there several other things that are being printed all the time over there that, I mean, I guess if push comes to shove, you could technically say it should go under other budgets. Isn't it gonna get kind of messy to try to separate all that out? I'm just trying to, I mean, don't
Trying
get
to
me wrong.
simplify it.
No, no.
You certainly shouldn't be paying for it, and I think the town should be printing it, but I just don't understand how we're gonna know what we printed on that's gonna go to the budget
Right,
committee's
so,
budget.
right,
That's all
and they
my
did that
concern.
a long time ago, and then they decided to bundle them. And then they decided to put, everybody has their own key number to put into that copier, and it's supposed to be charged to that department,
We don't use, nobody uses that.
right?
It was,
No, we all use the key to log in, it just has
that
not
right,
been,
and it was
hasn't
set up.
happened that way.
It was set up for that purpose
Right.
back when Liz was here.
Yep.
And we set it up in the middle of the year, and at the beginning of the next year, nobody ever put it in place. So basically, what we do is when we are ordering large orders of supply paper, is that each department does have a supply line, and each, and so basically, we could charge them for a carton of paper or a half a carton of paper to cover their cost of it going through the printer. But right now, it is not being broken down per sheet, per copy to any department.
Well,
So,
go ahead.
isn't that copy machine gonna be changed out?
Has to be, because right now we're having a lot of problems with it, so yes.
So, with that new copy machine we're getting, is there a way that we can set up the codes again?
I'm sure you
We
could,
could,
I mean,
yes.
I mean, would that, it's probably something we should do, or,
I've worked with that copy before, and it's very easy, friendly user, easy, and it does that as well, very easily. So you can easily track from each department who's using what.
okay.
I mean, really at the end of the day, in the printing and copy for the TA, I mean, couldn't you just add a few $100 to that line and take care of their printing?
I think the budget committee should actually have their own, because we get an idea of
Yeah.
what we're printing out. That's why she mentioned it. And I think
We're just trying to simplify this.
if you know how to measure it, that's the only thing I don't know, how we're going to figure out just how much I'm using.
Well, it sounds like we can set up the
So you
codes
should-
to do that easily.
Yeah, and you shouldn't be
That's
using your
all.
own equipment either, Bob.
You know, what it is, I could have stopped this, but I decided to do it, because I didn't know who to see, there was too many people changing around here, and I said, I'll do it, but I've had help. You know, the only thing I had to buy cartridges, and sometimes I got a break on that. Paper, well, I had, like, say, Larry Brown, it gave me 5 reams of paper.
Shouldn't be doing it that way.
And I got my sister,
I wish I would've
once in a
known.
while, gives me a ream of paper, so I didn't make a big thing of it.
We should, that's not a good practice, though.
This is not the first year Bob has been doing that, though.
Yeah.
Bob's been doing that for a long time.
It was a bad precedent, that's why this year I have to stop doing this, because
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be on this forever.
Right.
So if you come up with an idea how we can measure this, I mean, this is just a trial run for me, but I think we should have our own, so we have an idea what we're using.
Once I think the new copy is in place,
$200 should be fine.
we have the means to do that.
Right, no, I'm good, I just wanted
Yeah,
to make
this-
sure.
you should, you're a committee member here in the town. should have access to that copier so that you can supply your board with the material that you need. And that's in this budget, right?
It's in here, that's what I got
Okay.
for printing copies,
Right.
because
And this would be a first year trial
trial,
too.
you know, if this
So it'll
passes,
take a
we'll-
year before it's, kind of
So is
worked
our
out.
new
but
printer gonna have
That's a
that
good start.
capability?
Mhm.
Yeah, well, I think we should have one.
Yeah.
Because I know
When's that, when is
everybody
that
else
supposed to,
does.
when is that supposed to happen anyway, Heather?
The new printer?
Yeah.
Well, the contract was supposed to be done as of January 1st, but we all know we're having major issues with this printer we have right now. So we might have to talk about that before the end of the year.
We'll keep track of it, but it's best you keep it inside your budget.
This is just for the expenditure report. Anything else, like the budget that you're gonna give us in the worksheets, that's coming from you people. You know, that's nothing I can do there, okay? Just the expenditure report, that's ours. And I forgot to put down, is also the minutes will also need to be printed out, and the agendas. So that's also included in that public notice, I forgot to put it in there. And any other documents that we ask for, I feel that we should have it in our budget.
I agree.
Then we'll see if it works, and
Yeah.
I'm good with it.
All right,
Wanna make a motion?
make the motion to accept the 2018 budget, committee budget of $2,600.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Now Betsy cannot be here till 7:30,
Thanks, Bob.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Bob.
so we can go through some of the outside appropriations if you'd like, outside agency requests. Or you can look at Betsy's, I don't know what you'd like to do.
Do we have any of the outside appropriations?
If you go to the back, this year we did it a little different. We asked them to document what they're doing for the town of Milton. Because we shouldn't be spending Milton taxpayer resources on services that aren't being provided to Milton residents. So
Mhm.
we sent them a document, had them fill it out, get it back to us. We got information back from some of them. As you can see, the information we have, so far we have something from CAP in our packets. I think you can, anybody who's worked in town knows that CAP provides all kinds of services to the town. They serve 359 households, and they provided
What
$478,300.
page you on? I'm sorry.
The very back of the book, very back of the binder,
Very, very well.
very good. Just go to all the way back, right?
Keep going. Pick up that black thing. Pick up that.
Picked up that.
There you go.
Keep going. Just keep going. How do you miss out on these things all the time? It was there. Okay. You know what? Look in your. All right, you picked up your book ahead of time, didn't you? Before today.
Yes.
Okay. Where's the rest of the stuff that was in your box today?
There we go.
I don't know.
You picked it up early.
Thanks, Nick. How'd you know? Okay. All right, so CAP. They're asking for $8,250. They're saying they provided 407.
What-
It's an outside appropriation
I
funding.
know what it is, yeah.
Okay.
I wanted to see it in
Last year.
the expenditure report.
So, this form we utilize just to basically tell us what they're doing. And we send it to all the agencies that are asking for funds. They provided documentation of what they do for town. Community Action does provide a lot of services, obviously, for town, fuel assistance, food pantry. They help out with housing, they're comprehensive human service agency.
And they've used, year to date, they've used 100% of it.
Mm-hmm. They're one of the first ones that called, so skip you.
Yeah.
Usually they come here and they do a presentation.
Okay. Do you want me to try to schedule them? I mean...
Well, that's how we've done it, always done it in the past.
Okay. Okay.
Trouble is, I mean, now we're at the ninth inning, second out.
Yeah.
Well, that makes
Because-
it easy.
Because we gotta.
Well, we
we'd
do have documentation of what they do, that's part of this.
We'd have to get every
All
one
of
of
them in,
these.
yeah, that's what I'm trying to get.
But, I mean, it's whatever you
Yeah,
guys
I
want.
just didn't know why we changed it. I mean, they've always come in before.
I personally didn't know, and when they've contacted us, they haven't said, oh, we'll be happy to come in, so.
So the Homemakers Health Services hasn't taken anything.
And they
And there's been nothing requested.
we haven't got anything back, no. And nothing's been requested yet. Now, anybody who hasn't sent in their paperwork that we've sent out this form to, we're gonna follow up with a call tomorrow. But we gotta get them back. And you got the one from, it came in late today, I put it in your box, from the,
Coast Transportation
is gone.
is gone,
Right. So they should be zeroed out.
so they should be zeroed out. They don't come to Milton anymore.
No.
So,
No, I talked to them the other day too.
Cornerstone's overexpended.
Doesn't make any sense.
Why would we do that?
I shouldn't have done that.
youth.
But they're not requesting.
Well, they may not have put in their form yet. We're trying to get them back early and we haven't got them all back.
So why are we looking at this budget?
Because we're trying to get through the ones that we do have, like Community Action, Haven, AIDS Response Seacoast, Oscar G. Morehouse Post 61 of the American Legion, Stratford Meals on Wheels, and Homeless Center of Stratford application.
Where's the food pantry for Wakefield?
They're gonna come in next week and do a presentation, so they're not even on here because they're brand
So they're
new.
not even on here.
Not yet. 'cause
You know
they're
what,
brand new.
I think we should wait on this budget. That's
Yeah.
my,
Okay.
Yeah.
So
We need to be looking at it.
we should do it probably next Monday, because we're trying to get most of them done, but sure they're not all in. Okay?
would be, you know, and then we'll just
I know
look.
they're gonna, what they're gonna ask for, but I want them to talk to you about it.
Sure. And really, I mean, Betsy can't come in until 7:30, so we could just look at her budget next Monday, if that's all right.
Yeah.
Okay? So that should,
What is that? No, we'll do that Monday night, because that's an official meeting. But thank you, Brian.
so is there anything else you
Um,
guys want to talk about? I mean, with the budgets or anything?
I think I'm good with the budgets for now.
So I'd like to bring the TA budget
Oh,
back
I'm
up.
sorry.
If he's still talking about budgets, go ahead. I just have to poll the three of you for a request.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so, I'd like to pull back the TA's budget. And the vote was for a unanimous approval.
Okay, on the TA's budget.
Yeah, it was voted on unanimously.
Mm-hmm.
I want to not approve the budget, so I voted 2-1.
Can I ask for what reason?
Well,
Yep.
well, you're gonna have to, you're gonna have to, make a new motion and withdraw the other motion.
Okay, I'll make a
Oh, but
Wait, I think
before,
I made the motion.
To get the minutes, the minutes haven't been approved yet.
did you have a question, Ryan?
Well, I was just wondering why the change.
for the 2 salary lines. I'm not gonna approve the 2 salary lines.
The 2 salary lines.
Yeah.
So the full-time.
Yep. And for the bookkeeper, I believe, is that right there? Is it?
Okay. Okay.
That's not in here. It's both.
All right, so we just gotta, if you wanna make a motion,
What do you need, a motion to amend our original motion?
Motion to amend the vote.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to amend the vote.
okay,
I don't know. I don't know how we're supposed to do this. So.
He can make a
Well-
motion to amend the vote, and then then you re-vote.
yeah.
And then you second.
I'll second it to make a,
What has to happen here?
to,
I'm sorry,
yeah, go-
majority who voted will have to make that motion to rescind what he just voted on, then he wants to open it up again, you'll have to vote, but you need to take that motion off. The majority, somebody from the majority will have to make that motion. Mike cannot make it.
It's the person who originally made the motion has to re-bring the motion to change that original motion. If Ryan was the person who pushed the motion through to approve her budget, he's the person that has to reopen that.
do we know who did it?
I know-
I'm more than positive it was Ryan, because I know I didn't.
I think it was Ryan.
I think it was.
And I think
We
you
can look at the
seconded it.
drafts. Look at the draft minutes, but,
You want me to?
yeah, see if the draft minutes are posted.
Did Daniel do this? She did a nice job.
It's a very nice job. Just trying to make it easier for everybody.
Yes, I think this drastically helps.
Yeah, absolutely.
Instead of having 10 stacks of paper.
She said, how can I keep everybody organized?
Says Mike made the motion to approve the proposed adjusted total. Looks like you made the motion.
Okay, so, and then I'll make a motion.
You just gotta rescind the
Okay.
motion.
Yeah.
Motion to approve.
If that's it, yeah. And we can all look at the tape, if any questions.
So all we need is a motion for me to rescind my vote.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll make that motion for myself to rescind my vote for the TA budget. No, why?
You have to make a motion to rescind the vote and then make a new motion, I believe, is what we were saying.
Yeah, make a motion to rescind the original vote.
Okay. So I'll make that motion to rescind the vote.
I'm happy with the TA's budget.
I am too, I'm not changing my vote, but
No, I'm not asking you guys to. But it needs, the record needs to show that I changed my vote.
No, one of them has to second it before you can make that.
Right, but I'm just saying, I'm not asking them to change their vote for yea or nay.
I don't know, I just think we're going backwards.
Yeah, I mean, I apologize, this has never come up before.
I've never seen it do it, so.
I've never seen this, so I'm a little,
I think we just need to, if you're gonna do a second, whatever, so.
So does the motion fail without a second?
If they don't have a second, then the motion would fail to reopen it, correct?
because the thing is, I would have to be, I need an explanation of why I'm seconding this motion. I would need an explanation on why you know, you're changing your mind.
Okay, you ready?
I mean, is that fair enough?
You can second it for explanation, and then you guys can take a formal
discussion.
vote for discussion, right? And then you
I'll
can make a
I'll
formal vote to whether or not you want to.
I'll second it for discussion.
Okay, first of all, for the part-time. My understanding that part of the problem was all the interruptions with Vanessa and that. And let's talk about her going full-time. We made it part-time because, number one, when we had Joanne coming, she was coming in 2 days a week, 6 hours a week. And it was my understanding that everything was being taken care of. Granted, we had the help with Kathy doing the payroll. And now Vanessa's been having a hard time. So the cure to that was to have no interruptions in that office, everything to be written and or through the TA to Vanessa.
Well, that was just done this week, though.
Right, okay, so, and second for the TA salary, you know, quite frankly, I'm not comfortable paying someone $70,000 a year who hasn't really put a full week's work in since she started.
All right, this is going down a path that is not appropriate. I can see that right now.
Yeah.
And I'm appalled.
Well,
That
I
was
want
even just
the
said.
record to show
So,
that I am not.
I can tell you
approving the budget.
right now, I am not voting to change the vote of last week.
Yeah, no,
Let the minutes show.
you know, we can let the minutes show, I'm going to, it's a no vote for me. Probably some of that should have been done in a non-public. Anyways, so do you want to make a motion? Do you want to go ahead with your motion for the record? Mike?
Yeah, I'll make that motion, but I don't
There's-
change my
you-
vote.
Okay.
You already have a motion and a second, you need to vote on it.
Yeah, well, it was up for discussion though.
Right.
Right, you need to vote on it.
Yeah, and that's why I just asked Mike what, you know.
I'm voting no. We're not changing the vote. I'm not in favor of that at all.
Yeah, no, I'm not in favor of that. I'm sorry. You know, we need to move the town forward here, and it seems like, you know, this would be not moving the town forward. This would be moving the town backwards. We were explained, you know, why Vanessa is needed full-time. It was always a full-time job, lacking, you know, in between a couple of years it went part-time, didn't work. It's full-time, it was full-time last year. It was part-time, we tried to do part-time for, you know, for a while to see if it would work. It's not working. It needs to be full-time. It was done on a trial basis. I just think that you know, it's a big job, and there's a lot to it, and I'm comfortable with leaving that full-time job. Do you have anything to say, Ryan?
I'm very uncomfortable with what was said about the town administrator. Extremely uncomfortable. It's not an elected official, not the appropriate place to say anything like that. And I think, quite frankly, it's setting the town up in a bad position. And that's all I'm gonna say. And unfortunately, we just have gone backwards.
All right, so, anything else?
I have nothing else.
Chief, you have something?
So I just need to poll the three of you. I know you can't make a decision because it's a workshop. I have an officer going to training that is in Salem, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of next week. And I would like the officer to be able to take the cruiser home in between his training days. He is within, his house is within the 15 miles to town, but obviously Salem is more than 50 miles from town, so
Mm-hmm.
I just need to poll the three of you to see what your decisions are.
Okay, I mean, I'm fine with talking about that right this moment. I mean, we're all three of us are
I'm
here.
okay with that recommendation.
Yeah, you might?
Yep.
Okay, yeah, no, I'm fine with that.
Thank you.
Okay, anything else for budgets?
Nope.
Okay, I'll make a
Or
motion.
do we wanna,
You have something?
Well, I would like to say that I feel that my reputation was damaged, and I don't feel this was the appropriate conversation to have here. Obviously, a member of the Board of Selectmen does not understand the role of the town administrator, and that my job is not tied to a chair.
Okay. Is there anything else about budgets? Do I have a motion for adjournment?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.